So the Insta360 Ace Pro is really unique, especially when compared to the GoPro. I'm going to go over the reasons why I think this is a better buy than the GoPro, and I'm going to tell you my use cases why this camera, along with all its AI features and smart features, has really improved my workflow when I'm vlogging or filming sports or just filming regular things in my day-to-day life, like vacation. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the obvious major difference in the image quality. This is using a larger sensor, and it also has a fancy Leica lens co-engineered with Leica. Now, in terms of the sensor size, we're talking about 0.5 inches compared to 0.72 inches. And obviously, the larger the sensor size, the better the dynamic range. And that's one of the best selling points with the Ace Pro, is that it handles low light situations a lot better, especially when stability is involved. And it also even uses AI and onboard chip to help increase the clarity in low light situations. And I have to say, I was thoroughly impressed. Compared to my GoPro, it just looks night and day different. Okay, so we're doing a side-by-side comparison, GoPro versus the Ace Pro. We're gonna have the Ace Pro on stabilization on pure video. They're 4K 24 frames per second. You want to decrease the frames per second to help with the low light situation. And this is pure video with the stabilization off. And this is pure video with the stabilization on. And then this is 4K 24 standard stabilization, no pure video, so this is regular video mode. Another really great feature with the Ace Pro is the HDR, or the high dynamic range. Basically what HDR does is that it helps expose for both the bright spots and the dark spots, so you get an even image and you can see details in the highlights. And what I like about Insta360's implementation of HDR is that it's superior to GoPros in that when you're doing action sports like you're running and stuff like that, it doesn't look janky at all. It looks really good in the end. Now, I tested this with my friend, as you can see in this footage, and you can see that our face is well exposed even though we have a really bright sky. What happens a lot with smartphone cameras or other types of cameras is that it would expose for the highlights, the background of the bright sky, and then it would make this face look kind of dim. So I like that this has AI recognition of your face so that it exposes for your face because, you are the subject. And because this uses an 8K sensor, or it can take up to 8K resolution, and it uses pixel binning in the end, you can zoom in and still maintain clarity. And basically when you compare that to, let's say, a GoPro or any other type of camera, you're going to maintain more clarity. There's going to be a sharper visual image because it's punching in that 8K sensor, giving you more pixels and detail in the end. The last thing I want to talk about in terms of the image quality that really impressed me was the auto white balance. Now take a look at this example right here. I'm filming on the GoPro on one side and the Ace Pro on the other side. The skin tones, the color science looks a lot better on the Ace Pro. For some reason on the GoPro, I just look very orange. The colors look very weird. I've tried to fix it and everything like that. I just find that the auto white balance algorithm in the Ace Pro is to be a lot more reliable, especially when you're indoors. It just looks really good. Now, unfortunately, I haven't had to test this underwater, scuba diving or snorkeling, but apparently this does a really good job at correcting the colors when you're in the water. So one of the key differentiators between the GoPro and the Ace Pro is the flip out screen. And I have to say, this is a very sturdy design. I love the fact that I can flip out and just film myself and frame everything. Now, one of the best things about this is that I don't have to arch my neck anymore, looking under in weird angles and stuff like that. If I'm gonna film my friend, let's say he's skateboarding like that, I can flip out the screen just like that, and it gives such an ergonomic angle. So the usability, especially when you want to vlog and you can frame yourself and have your friends in the shot and just, not miss that important shot, it is a very handy feature, and it's definitely a huge difference from the GoPro. Now, going beyond just the image and physical aspects between the GoPro and the Ace Pro is the software. And I have to say, the AI software, the smart features in this camera are amazing. And the following set of features I want to talk about are all about saving you time in post-production. You know that feeling when you go on a trip and you film a whole bunch of footage, and then when you come home, you upload it onto your computer, and then it just ends up rotting on your hard drive. You don't want to go through the work of having to sift through all that footage, hours upon hours of footage, and then edit a video. It's very labor intensive, it takes a lot of time, and your friends and family will never get to see the end result. So what I like about this is that you can pretty much start editing in the camera or after you've filmed. So let's talk about the first time-saving feature, and that's the ability to pause recording and then resume recording within the same clip. So right now I'm recording, I can pause. Now that may seem really trivial or simple, but that saves you a lot from having to cut films in post-production. So you can film something, talk to someone, pause, frame another shot, and then continue recording. So if I want to continue recording, I can hit the top button over here, and then it continues recording, or I can just stop recording. Bottom right button over here, and I've captured the footage right over there. Now, not only is it annoying to have to edit through lots of footage, it's annoying to have to, let's say you took a really bad shot, maybe you're trying to get this cool cliff jump and you keep messing up. Well, what you can do is you can start recording, which I've already done, and then you can long press. So as you long press, you'll see a screen that shows that you can cancel the recording. So it deletes that recording, never records it, and that saves you time in the future. Trust me, you don't want to have to deal with all this in post-production because it's really annoying.
Mark that.
So one of my favorite smart features or AI features is the voice control. And I'm going to show you how this relates to AI, the AI assistant. Now, first you want to scroll down and then just make sure it's enabled. And here you can see all the commands that we have. You can say, take a photo, start recording, mark that, and shut down camera and stuff like that. Now I have to say, through my practice, I found that the voice recognition was really good. It was able to pick me up in loud situations, and I was very impressed overall with the accuracy of it. One of my favorite things to do is to set this up on a tripod and just tell it to mark that. And what that does is that it adds a little indicator in that clip later in post-production that you know that there was a highlight there. And trust me, that's going to save you a lot of time from sifting through a lot of footage and finding the footage that you really care about. Now, being able to start and stop recording is absolutely amazing through your voice. And another thing you can do is you can use hand gestures. You can hold your hand like that and it will pick it up because it has AI technology and it will start or stop recording. So if you don't want to use your voice, it's in a kind of a weird situation, maybe you're in a quiet place and you set this up on a tripod, then you can just use those gestures. So this makes this camera a really good, not only action cam, travel cam, vlog cam, it's really good for solo content creation where you don't have someone behind the camera filming you all the time. You can set this up, you can frame yourself, obviously without the flip out screen. And I'm gonna talk about the GPS remote a little bit later. That's a really, really cool tool. Or you can just use the phone app to frame yourself. And then yeah, it just makes a really cool one-stop kit to film everything all by yourself. All right, so let's move back to the AI features. One of the cool things that it has is this thing to recognize highlights automatically. It's called the AI Assistant or AI Highlights Assistant. And basically what it does is that it automatically adds markers along your screen. Now you can disable this if you don't find it helpful, but I personally found it really helpful when you're taking long continuous shots. And sometimes you're just filming a whole bunch of garbage, you're just walking around, the camera's just pointing at the floor or something like that. I'm not sure how the algorithm works, but I have to say it's quite good. You might have to make small tweaks here and there, but overall, I find that it's very helpful to have this feature. So you can pretty much edit your video in your camera, which is pretty mind-boggling. Let me show you how it works. And then I'm gonna go into one of my clips. All right, so here's a clip of me skateboarding. And you can see that there's 3 markers over here, and the AI assistant did that. So if I click on it, so 3.8 seconds, you can see that one over there, and then followed by this one here. I do another trick. Now that was my own personal voice control when I say mark that. So I added that near the end. What really is kind of crazy is that the AI knew that the trick I did, I landed it. I just do a basic 50-50 on a ledge, grind. That it captured that automatically, and then it captured the next one, which was another flip trick. So it does a really good job at marking highlights throughout a long scene. I'm just very impressed. I'm not sure how this technology works, but it's quite amazing. And of course you can just say, mark that as you're recording to capture key moments. Now, if you want to edit your highlights, for example, this one here, I want to edit it because I think it's a little bit off. So as I scroll, you can see the blue section are the highlights, and you can see this is a long one here. I think this one started a little bit too early. What I'm gonna do is add a marker right here. So as you click the highlight button, what it does is tries to take nearby neighbors and tries to make it into a contiguous block. So if I scroll to the side, I'll say I want to extend it to over here, the highlight, and then over here, I think it's within 2-second intervals, yeah. And then let's say I want to have a highlight over here, and there you go. I've edited the highlights, I can hit OK. And then from there, you can quickly connect this to your phone, which is very fast and seamless. And what I really like about the phone app is that when you're transferring footage over Wi-Fi, it happens in the background, so you can still use your phone. Whereas with the GoPro, it would always occupy the foreground. It would be very annoying, and you have to wait a long time before you can use your phone. Anyways, from there, you can select your highlights, and then you can export them really quickly to social media. So another thing I like about the Insta360 Ace Pro is their actual mount adapter. This is a quick release magnetic mount, and I love it so much because it's so annoying to have to use a screw. For example, this one over here, I have to screw it. It just takes too long to unscrew it and then attach it and detach it. So let's say I want to have 2 distinct pieces. I want to be able to connect them and disconnect them very quickly, but I also want to store them very elegantly. I don't want this thing connected in my backpack. I just want to disconnect it, maybe put it in a bag. And by the way, this is the Insta360 X Pygotech. This is a really nice, small, compact, very simple to use. I definitely recommend getting this accessory. It functions as a tripod. It's super lightweight, super small. Anyways, that's besides the point. So being able to connect it, very fast and very simple, and it's very secured. So I just love the quick release mechanism. You know, you're on the go, you want to quickly film, set up your tripod, film yourself, take it off, and you're ready to go. Now they do offer adapters so that you can adapt, you know, more conventional cameras or even GoPros to it. For example, I have this very ancient GoPro and I can attach it. And this one has a locking mechanism, so it's super secure. This allows you to use Insta360's proprietary quick release system with other cameras. Now, in terms of actual use of this device, I had no issues with the battery. It lasted a very long time. And I also found that it handled very cold extreme weathers very well. So that was really good. I've never had any crashing or any overheating or anything like that. So it performed very, very well, a lot more stable than my GoPro. And if you're ever low on battery, it only takes 22 minutes to get to 80% battery. So that is quite amazing with this camera, very fast charging. Now, in terms of the build quality of this camera, I have to say it is very, very well built. It's sturdy, it has a very nice textured feeling around it. All the ports and buttons feel very tactile and very easy to open. For example, if I pop this one over here, very nice and easy. You have your SD card and USB-C. And by the way, you can connect the USB-C to a computer and then you can use this as a webcam. Although the footage doesn't look that great on a webcam, it's still a nice backup. And one thing that feels so premium about this Ace Pro is that every time you open up the battery compartment or the side door over here, it's just so seamless. It's so easy. It feels very, very nice. All the buttons feel very tactile and clicky. And then if I open this one over here, here's a large battery compartment and it locks in very nicely in place. This is waterproof and it is very, very durable. It feels like it has a nice kind of rubber coating on the side over here, so I feel like it's gonna take some damage. Overall, the design just looks really good, very solid, and I think it's a very attractive, nice camera. Now, one really cool niche feature is that when you plug this device to a power source, you can actually have it turn on and start recording. So what you can do is you can turn this into a dash cam or into a security camera. You can link it with other smart devices that control the power. So if I click charge and record, you can see that I have more options. You can see the shooting mode that I want, stop recording when power source is disconnected. So I can click that as well. And then you can set all these parameters like field of view and stuff like that. Now going back to the overall design, another thing that I really like about this camera is all the LED indicators. So right now I've actually disabled the recording indicator. I'm gonna go back and turn that on. So this is how you turn on the indicator light. You just go from the handy top menu. So you have a red tally light on the back, which is very nice. The screen shows that it's recording with the red icon over here. And then this is red as well. What I found was that sometimes when I'm skateboarding in the bright sunlight and I'm not sure if I'm recording, I can always quickly check and see that I'm recording. So it is very, very helpful. You're never gonna miss that shot. It is such an underrated feature and it definitely is appreciated. Now, in terms of the front screen, I also like the fact that it shows you the status. It even shows you when you do a mark that command. Mark that. And you can see the little flag there and even on the screens. So this tiny LCD screen here provides a lot of utility. It gives you feedback of what's happening. So I really appreciate the usefulness of it. Now let's quickly go into the settings. Now you've seen the zoom button. I can zoom out. You can toggle between the different field of views. Let's go through each one. So they have horizon lock, which means that it will stay level if you tilt the camera to the left or right. They even have an extra 360 horizon lock, but it zooms in more. So your footage is gonna look a little bit more grainy if you zoom in more. They have dewarp. Dewarp is my favorite because I find that it's very good for vlogging. Basically what it does is that it removes the distortion of the ultra wide. So you don't have these bends, but you have more like straight curves. And this is really good for more cinematic type of look, the better type of version of linear from the GoPro. And then there's ultra, which is your more typical, more for action sports and stuff like that. It's probably gonna be the mode that you use the most. And then there's action camera, which does more of a compression. It does look a little bit too distorted for my liking. I would only use that if you need a really large field of view. And by the way, the menu system, the way that you interact with the menus feels very fast and responsive. I love the fact that they provide educational content. For example, they explain all the settings, like the ultra wide, for example. It's very, very helpful, very, very intuitive. Now you can quickly toggle between different modes. Let's quickly go through each one. And by the way, they explain each one in detail. So I love the educational tooltips that are in this app. Now there's photo, regular photo, you got regular video, you have pure video, which is the special night mode, which allows you to use the AI chip that's built in to help capture really good low light footage and really use that sensor. You have free frame video, and then you can tap and learn more about it. Basically what that means is that it captures the entire sensor, and then in post in the app or on the computer, you can reframe it. You can do your own horizon lock, or you can do different field of views. This basically means that the image that you're getting is nothing is crystallized in it. You can edit it in post. So this gives you the most flexibility, and I really like that they include this option. Now, I'm not going to be using free frame a lot for my travel videos because I don't want to have to go and, choose a different field of view and do all this post-production stuff, but I think it's very handy in certain situations. So time shift is meant to go with motion, so you can be moving, you can be walking, and then you can create a really cool hyperlapse effect. Now this is the static version, it's called time lapse. This is more for static positions. The next thing I really like is loop recording. You can set the loop duration, 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, etc. So what that means is that you can have this camera running indefinitely and it will only capture the last fixed segment. And for me, this is one of the most useful tools because when I'm skateboarding and I'm trying to land a trick and it takes multiple attempts, I only want to get the last clip. So what I will do is I'll do maybe 20 attempts on a trick. And then on the last one, when I finally landed, I could say mark that, or I could just stop recording. And then I know that last clip is only gonna be 1 minute. This saves me so much time in post-production. It also saves me a ton of storage space. Imagine filling your hard drive, your SD card with like 20 minutes of you trying a trick and only the last 1 minute, 30 seconds is all you need. So this is a lifesaver feature and I really appreciate it. Now I do want to put a word of caution. If you, for example, land your trick on the 1 minute cut mark, you might actually get 2 different clips. So basically what happens is that if you land your trick on the last 1 minute segment, then the following clip will still be included, the prior clip will be included, and also the following clip. And you'll have to put them in post-production and stitch them together. So that's a little bit of a downside, but for me, it doesn't really affect my workflow too much.
So one of my favorite features to save time in post-production is to enable pre-recording. And what that does is that it will start recording the previous 15 seconds no matter what. And then when you like the footage that you've caught, you can just say start recording, and then it'll capture the last 15 seconds plus going forward. So I'm gonna put the camera down here. And what I like about this is that it's so easy to set up an angle. All right, so I landed my trick. I can say start recording, and it just started recording. Then I'll just say stop recording. And then that last 15 seconds plus whatever I caught is the final clip. And I don't have to go through a bunch of footage, hours of footage to find the clip that I actually wanted. So this is a huge time-saving, memory-saving feature.
Now you can obviously customize the resolution. You can set the different frame rates. For specific modes, like say, for example, just regular recording, you can go all the way to 4K 120 frames per second. And that is kind of insane resolution and also frame rate. Very, very cool. You can adjust the stabilization. You can go high. I find that standard is pretty good, even low, especially when I'm filming on a skateboard. I'm not walking too much. You can even go as far as 8K resolution. Unfortunately, it only supports to 24 frames per second. You probably don't want to use that unless you're in a really bright environment and you want to capture extreme detail. I'd rather just keep it at 4K and have that option to punch in digitally with their special 8K mode. So when you punch in, you save the pixels and it looks really clear. You can turn off active HDR on and off. I like to keep it on, especially when I'm filming, let's say in 30 frames or 24 frames per second when it's more cinematic. It's kind of nice to capture the detail in the highlights and the lowlights. Now there are a ton of other modes. I'm not going to go through all of them right now. Another really cool thing is presets. This is very essential. I have 2 presets, one for extreme sports, skateboarding. I just go ahead, ultra right, 4K 60, and then vlog, it's like 4K 24 frames per second. Specific field of view, which is the de-warped one. It just really makes it very easy to open up your camera, choose the right preset, and then start recording. You don't have to think about fuddling with all the settings. This is why I love this camera so much, because it's just so easy to get recording, self-filming, all that stuff. It just feels very, very, very intuitive. And the fact that you have all the AI assistants and stuff like that, being able to mark clips, stop and start recording remotely, it just makes this a fantastic vlog camera, action camera, solo action camera. You just get so much amazing utility out of this camera. It's not just a basic, action camera these days.
So one of the best features you can get with the Insta360 app is auto edit. And you just have to tap right there. And it does such a good job at finding the key moments, and it makes it so much easier to edit. You don't have to trim the left and right side of every clip. Let me explain what I mean by that. So I'm going to select all these clips here. And let's say you're on vacation and you have like 100 clips. You can select all those clips. It's very simple. Click next. And then you can select different templates. Now, looking at all this footage, it's doing a really good job at getting the key subject in place. It's quite amazing that it understands tricks and stuff like that. But if I go to edit, you can do things like change the duration of the clips and stuff like that. For example, this one over here, it didn't really do a good job of capturing what I wanted. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to go to adjust. And it's very easy because it's pre-cut. you can see that there's 2 yellow markers over here, yellow there, yellow there. So what I can do is I can just tweak it. I really like this on the phone because it doesn't require you to have pinpoint accuracy. So like, for example, like I land the trick there and that's perfect. Now, my only caveat with this is that I wish I could zoom in and reframe the shot. Sometimes I'm like too far, like for example, I was too far there. It would be amazing if I could zoom in and, obviously make it into a 1:1 aspect ratio or something like that. I would love to be able to remove the music. I don't know why I'm forced to have that. So just give us some more options of how we use this. And by the way, you can change the duration. You can make it longer. That makes each clip longer as well. And then when you're done, you can just hit export and then you can export it to your phone.
So let's talk about the remote. This remote is absolutely amazing. It was a lot better than what I had expected. You basically get full control of the actual camera all on your wrist. So you can have this mounted onto your bike using the included bike mount, or you can put this as like a watch over here. And I found this accessory to be really, really handy when you're self-filming. Let's say you want to film a trick or get yourself and you have no one else to film you, then this is very, very helpful. I also found it to be very responsive, and it feels almost like an extension of the actual camera. In fact, this reminds me of the Insta360 Go, where you could detach it and have your camera just outside really far away, and then you had a remote control that was really responsive and very intuitive to use. So you get full control, like all the features that you would typically get. I'm pretty sure almost everything is covered here, and I found that when you turn it on, it automatically connects to the camera really, really fast, and it's just such a joy to use. This included wristband here is really cool. You have a charging connector over here, just plop it onto the dock. The screen is really bright and visible in daylight. Now I do want to mention that polarized sunglasses unfortunately have a hard time seeing the screen, so you'll need to take off your sunglasses. But overall, it just works really well because it's so bright. All right, so let's wrap up this video. What do I think about the Ace Pro? Well, I have to say, all the AI features, smart features really make this a very unique product, especially compared to the GoPro. You're gonna have a lot better time being able to edit all your family footage, your friends and family, all your footage is going to be so much more easy to edit. And one of the cool things I didn't even cover in this video is the actual Insta360 app has an ability to do AI video editing. So what you can do is you can take all the footage, doesn't even have to be from this camera, it can be from your phone, and you can just plop it to the AI assistant, and it's going to be able to select all the correct cuts and scenes like that and produce a really cool snazzy video with awesome music, transitions and stuff like that. It's just so amazing. This is why I love it so much because, I can film with the best camera in the world. I can film with my phone, but if that footage just sits there and rots on a cloud storage or on the device, or I just delete it, or I just forget about it one day, and I don't share that footage with my friends, then what's the point of filming? What I love about the Ace Pro is that it has a ton of features that make filming a lot more fun again. And think about it, you can film an entire travel video, entire trip, and then edit it on the plane. In fact, you can edit it on this actual device, this camera. So it's kind of crazy what you can do. It's just amazing to be able to pump out footage so fast and share it with your friends. And I think this is the essence of this camera. Not only does it have a great design, great image quality, just the usability, all the smart features really make this an awesome smart package. And I'm excited to see more what Insta360 provides in the AI space. I hate editing, I hate making videos, but this has made it a lot more fun to film and capture that awesome serendipitous B-roll and then share it with your friends. Anyways, if you want to check out these cameras, I'll leave a link in the description. If you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next video.